Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Krista, and I'm here to do a Celtic Reiki healing practice on you. Today, I'm continuing my astrological series where I combine the elements and energies and essences of the astrological season that we're in with some energies and essences and properties of the Celtic Ogham for Celtic Reiki healing. Normally I do these videos with my face in the camera, but I decided to try a little something different today, just seeing if just working with my hands on the camera adds a different element to this. I just felt like doing things a little differently. So now we are in Virgo season, and so today I am going to be doing a Virgo season healing cleansing practice on you. So to begin, I am going to go ahead and do a smoke cleanse just to get you cleansed and grounded and protected for the healing energy that you're about to receive. I'm going to use the assistance of this magpie wing to bathe you a little more in this smoke. For the smoke cleansing, go over the top of your head and around your body and down. If you'll lift up your feet for me, we'll go under your feet and then up the front Tai Chi pole chakra line. Just really cleansing, protecting your body, mind, and spirit for today's energetic healing. Just do me a favor and breathe in deeply through your nose and hold it gently at the top of your breath. And then slowly exhale through your mouth. And do that a few times for me, just deep cleansing breaths that help you feel relaxed and help reset your nervous system. Do it at whatever pace and intensity you prefer. If you feel like letting out a sigh or a groan or even a scream, if it wouldn't bother anyone when you're exhaling, feel free to do so, because letting out sound also really helps with cleansing and relaxing the nervous system. Go down, up around the top of the head and down behind you, down behind your body, under your feet, and up and around. Okay. Next, we're just going to do a quick grounding using this beautiful stone for your grounding today that I got in Ireland at memorial site or ancient burial site known as Knowth, spelled Knowwth. It's right next to New Grange, but this is representative of one of these stones that can be found at Knowth, which I found to be one of the most beautiful, grounding, calming experiences. Some of the other ancient sites we went to actually had a very strong energy that made me not feel very well, and even New Grange had like a very strong energy when I was there that kind of knocked me off balance a little bit. Actually, it didn't. mean, I'm sure it's great for a lot of people, but for me, when I was there that day, it just felt very strongly that the spirits and guides that are there weren't happy with the tourists that day. They were just feeling like too many people were coming through this space, and maybe not all of them had the energy that they were wanting, and they were just wanting like some rest and peace and quiet that day. And so I was just kind of feeling their kind of chaotic, unmoored, kind of angry feelings. At least that was the sense that I got. And some of the people in the group I was with also kind of felt this. But when I was at Noth, which is next to it, which are these beautiful mounds, rather than going in this stone structure like New Grange, where it's very claustrophobic, these were these big, beautiful outdoor mounds that you could climb on top of the biggest one. And you could just look so far into the distance and see all the green pastures and trees of Ireland, and cows, horses, sheep, basically any kind of livestock you could think of. At every corner there was something down there, and it was really beautiful. And I just had such a cleansing and grounding and peaceful experience there. And so I want to use this grounding stone to just ground you, protect you. Go under the feet, and up the back of your body, over the top of your head, kind of circling it above your head to kind of push you down into the earth and anchor you down. Just gonna move it, anchor. And if it helps for you to feel like I do in most of my videos, where you have roots growing out of the bottom of your feet into the ground and connecting with the root system of the earth, all the trees of the earth and the tree of life, to really gain their protection, security, rootedness, cleansing, and healing. I apologize for the train horns. I live by very busy train tracks, and there really isn't a time, day or night, where they don't happen. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set this down beneath your feet and leave it there during the healing so that it can keep you grounded while we're doing this. And then I'm just going to go in. I know we did our smoke and wing cleanse at the beginning, but I'm just going to do a quick cleanse with the selenite wand to clear up anything that was particularly stuck and hanging on, to just kind of break it up, pull it out. If you want, taking deep breaths out as I release the energy could help. And this is just getting rid of anything stagnant or toxic or negative or harmful that isn't serving your best interest. And I like to say this a lot, but it's okay to have negative feelings. Like, we aren't meant to be positive all the time, and I believe we should feel our feelings, but there becomes a point where it's like a fine line where we cross over from what's productive into what is just ruminating and making things worse. And you know, it's different for everyone and for every experience, different lengths of time. So that's up to you and your guides. So this is a gentle cleansing. I'm not trying to rip anything from you that you need to be working with right now. I'm just getting rid of things that aren't going to serve you. And I find one of those things to be picking up other people's crap. If you're like me and you're kind of porous and an empath, and you find yourself picking up the energies and moods of and thoughts and feelings of other people, the collective, or people you work with, or your family, your friends, or anyone you're around, or just the world in general. You know, if you've watched the news or seen stuff on social media or something, and you really just need to be letting go of other people's feelings so that you can focus on your own will help with that too. Okay, so today we are working with Virgo season energies. So Virgo season, and I'm just gonna start working a little bit energetically with the amethyst wand while I talk, rather than talking at the beginning and then doing the energy healing afterwards. I'm trying to just incorporate it all at one time. So Virgo season is August 23rd through September 22nd. Virgo rules the 6th house in astrology, and the 6th house is in charge of a lot of things, but for today's purposes, to keep it simple, what it really boils down to the most is work and health. So work doesn't necessarily mean career or how you earn your money, although it can, but it's about any work that you do, chores, tasks, helping other people, and yes, your daily day-to-day work. So it encompasses any and all kinds of work as well as health. Virgo is ruled by the planet Mercury, and Mercury has, again, a lot of adjectives that we could use to describe it, but I'm just going to cross my leg here. But for today's purposes, to keep it simple and just distill it down to one word, for the most part, Mercury is the planet of communication. So Virgo is ruled by the planet of communication. As far as the elements go, we have earth, air, fire, and water signs. Virgo is an earth sign. Earth signs are known to be very grounded. Now, what's interesting about Virgo is that the modality it is mutable. So modalities are where they fall in the season. So cardinal signs start each season. The start of spring is Aries, that's cardinal. The start of summer is Cancer, that's cardinal, so on and so forth. Then in the middle of each season, as the anchor, the thing that harnesses and anchors and grounds it in the middle, is known as a fixed sign. So for spring, that's Taurus. For fall, that's Scorpio. It's the middle of each one. And then the third sign of each season is the one that sees us out of the season. It's the end. And it is known as mutable. And mutable is known for being flexible as well as dispersing things. So a cardinal sign is a starter, initiator, push forward energy. A fixed sign is a grounded, rooted, harnessing energy, and a mutable sign is a flexible energy that disperses. And Virgo is the only mutable earth. So while there are 4 earth signs and 3 mutable signs, Virgo is the only one that is earth and mutable. So it's kind of interesting because a fixed sign would be grounded and an earth sign would be grounded. However, Virgo is an earth sign, so that's grounded, but mutable, which is flexible. So that's kind of maybe the opposite of grounded. So I want to work a little on balancing this, because if you are in harmony and alignment, this is going to feel like a really nice balance and push-pull between, I know my roots, I know my boundaries, I'm solid, but I'm also flexible enough to go with the flow where necessary and needed. But if you're out of whack, those things could feel like they're competing with each other, or you could feel one over the other. We don't want that. Since I do this with every sign, but every sign, when you combine their modality and their element, they're all different. So Aries is the only cardinal fire. Pisces is the only mutable water. Leo is the only fixed fire. Capricorn is the only cardinal earth. Virgo is the only mutable earth. So if a mutable sign disperses things, and if Virgo is ruled by the planet of communication, we're going to say that Virgo disperses skills. Now you may be saying, Krista, you said communication. Where is skills coming from? But the thing is Gemini is also ruled by Mercury, which is the planet of communication. And a lot of communication is about information, right? If we're giving Mercury more words, we're going to say that Mercury is about information and communicating information. It really is a teacher. Most of the teachers I know have very strong Gemini and or Virgo placements. Doesn't necessarily mean their birthday falls in that season, that their sun sign is Virgo or Gemini. It may be their moon or their rising. I know a ton of Virgo risings who are teachers. And so Virgos are all about skills. They love to learn, take in information, and then they love to teach and disperse that information that they learn. They really love perfecting and honing their skills. They always want to keep that cycle going of learning and teaching and learning and teaching. So yes, a Virgo as a mutable earth sign, a mutable earth ruled by Mercury disperses skills. If you recall the Taurus astrological video that I did earlier this year during Taurus season, you saw that I was likening earth signs to parts of a tree. And Taurus being a fixed earth, which are both very, very grounded, rooted energies, was the trunk of the tree. So now, moving on to Virgo, the next earth sign in the zodiac, the next part of the tree is the branches. And I will put in the description the gentleman on TikTok who came up with this scenario. I really like what he had to say about it, and I will put his information in the description so you can check him out. And so with the Virgo being the tree branches, the reason why is because, yes, they're an earth sign, so that is grounded into the earth like the tree, but they're mutable, so they can also kind of flow with the wind and the breeze, which is what the branches and the leaves of the tree do. So that is how we are going to think of it in a way that can maybe help us remember. If I am going to give an archetype to Virgo, I'm going to give the archetype of a teacher. If I'm going to give them one key word, it's going to be detail-oriented. Now, please remember when I say this that I'm not just talking about people that are Virgos, I'm talking about Virgo energy in general, Virgo season in general. The components of Virgo, if you want to take the person out of it, if that helps, it's just Virgo traits. But what a lot of people don't realize is that you have every sign in your chart. It's just about what house it falls in, what planets are there, what degrees they're at, etc., as to how that impacts you. So if you're a Virgo sun and you're saying, yeah, some of this stuff sounds like me, but not all of it, well, you've also got a moon sign and a rising sign, and your rising sign is very important. Your rising sign is actually what you should be using for your horoscope. And then you've got other stuff going on in your chart too. Or if you're sitting here saying, well, yeah, a lot of this really sounds like me, but I'm a Libra. Well, check out your birth chart. Maybe you've got a strong Virgo placement. Okay, and since Virgo is the end of summer, that is why it is mutable. A famous Virgo is Mother Teresa. And some Virgo traits are observant, hardworking, detail-oriented, helpful. They can be overthinkers, analytical, modest, patient. They can be critical, especially of themselves, independent, logical, precise. And being, precise and critical, they can also be picky. They are reliable, grounded, also very creative. Sometimes people are surprised by how creative Virgos are. And since they're so skill oriented and they're such perfectionists, I know a lot of Virgos that really, they combine that creativity with that perfectionism, with that dispersing skills element. And so, I know a lot of them that are carpenters or woodworkers or tattoo artists or things that take very precise, exacting skill, but also still incorporate that sense of creativity. They are also sensitive. So I know a lot of them that are artists, even hairdressers, a lot of Virgo hairdressers. They can be skeptical. They are intellectually driven, and they are very focused. So those are traits of Virgo. And so what I would like to do is impart this energy on you in a way that is balanced. So if you're over indexing in perfectionism and overthinking, or if you're under indexing and being grounded and creative, patient, let's find like a nice balance of these Virgo traits for Virgo season. So with that being said, the Celtic oghams that I will be using today, I'm going to use two for this. One is known as Phagos, which is from the beech tree. Come on, there it goes. And Phagos, among other things, is about ancient knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And it is about other things, which I will get into when I am putting that symbol in. And I'll kind of explain how I felt it went along with the Virgo energies. And then the second one I am using today is Neon, which is the ash tree. And this is known as the Professor. It's about gathering wisdom. And again, it has a lot of other properties that I felt went along with Virgo. We'll get into that. And I am placing this symbol energetically into your dantians. I think of Virgo as being really very upper dantian, upper chakras, because it is a teacher. It is about communication. So we've got a lot going on, I feel, maybe in the throat and in the third eye, learning, that upper dantian and taking in information and then dispersing it and teaching it. So Neon the upper dantian, the ash tree, is the Professor. Like I said, the archetype for Virgo is teacher. It's about gathering wisdom, expansion, growth, correct focus, balancing the mind and emotions. It's about direct and focused intention. And so, I said Virgos are very precise, they're very focused, very analytical. So, this is really a good energy for finding that direct and focused intention. We're coming out of Leo season, and Leo is the performer, and a bit unhinged and extra and fun and wild, and you may have gone out and just had a fun summer and been wild and crazy, but now it's back to school season and we got to get focused and we got to get ready to learn and teach and we got to be studious. So this Virgo energy. And I think it's really cool that typically school starts around Virgo season. I think that makes a lot of sense. A lot of schools around here started back very early, like middle of August, like prior to Virgo season starting at the end of Leo season. And I think that that's a big mistake. I think we're still in crazy party fun Leo summer energy. And from a practical standpoint, it's still too hot out. I think school should start in September. Start during Virgo season. That's just me. I think in August we should still be going to the beach and partying. One of the biggest energies of neon, of the ash, is that it is about the direction and application of power and skill. Well, what fits more than everything I just told you about Virgo? Virgo is all about skill. So this helps with that direction and application of power and skill. Move down into the heart space with this symbol and give your heart a little Virgo energy too, even though I feel like it mostly exists up here. We're still going to balance you throughout the whole body to kind of get into this energy because with Virgo, like I said, there is creativity, there is sensitivity. So we're going to go. This ash symbol is also about the right use of strength and gaining skill to make the strength effective. So we can have strength, but are we using it correctly? Are we using it in a moral and kind way? Are we using it in an effective way? And are we using our skills and applying those skills to make the strength more effective? And this symbol really helps with that. Neon. This is also about self-control. This symbol, neon. Self-control, which I think is pretty on brand for Virgo energy. If they're hardworking, detail-oriented, analytical, patient, precise, reliable, grounded, focused, then I think it would make sense to say that self-control is an energy that fits. And then moving down to the lower dantian and the root area and really applying the groundedness that comes along with Virgo energy. A grounded, reliable, hardworking area. And this symbol ash is also representative of rootedness, so that makes a lot of sense as well. This symbol is not only logical and practical, but it also balances being and doing. We can be something all we want, we can talk the talk all we want, but do we walk the walk? Or are we just doing too much and not just laying back and being enough, being ourselves? So we're going to get a good balance with this ash symbol of being and doing. And in addition to rootedness, the last thing that I want to communicate to you about ash and the neon symbol is that it is good at creating tools. And I would say Virgo's dispersing skills, being creative, being precise, being analytical, being perfectionist, detail-oriented, are very much about being good at creating tools. A lot of them work with tools. Like I said, a lot of hairdressers working with their scissors and other tools. A lot of carpenters and people that are building things and whatnot, and those are definitely tool related. Tattoo artists are working with their tools, and any other, things along those lines where it combines artistry and precision and being very picky, which can be a good thing, but let's balance it out, right? Let's keep those things in balance. Let's not drive ourselves crazy being too perfectionist, overthinking too much, overly analytical, overly critical. Let's dive into the creativity and sensitivity as well, and just having fun. Okay. Then for the next symbol I mentioned Phagos, which is the beech tree. The reason I chose this one is because it really, I think, captures the teaching essence that a Virgo has. Where Gemini and Virgo are both ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, I find a lot of times, and again, Geminis are definitely teachers, but a lot of times, they will just know a little bit about a lot. They just learn so many different interesting facts, and they love communicating it and talking about it. But a lot of times it's more of a conversation type setting than like a formal teaching way. It can be formal teaching for sure. I've got good friends who are Geminis who are teachers. But it's a lot more conversational with the Gemini, it feels like, whereas with Virgos, where they are dispersing skills, it's very hands-on, it's very classroom, it's very, I've learned this information and I've perfected it, and I've thought a lot about it, I've spent a lot of time honing it, and now I'm going to teach it to you. So the way that fits with Phagos, the beech tree, like I said, is it's ancient knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It's also about fluid verbal knowledge. Now, this may be a little tough for Virgo energy, but we're going to balance this out. Fluid verbal knowledge basically relates to the fact that this symbol was about the fact that in the ancient days of the Druids and pagans and the Celtic people, they didn't write any of this down, and it was very intentional. They relied purely on word of mouth, passing down from teacher to student. And that's because they believed in the idea that the transmission of knowledge and the expansion of the mind and the transmission of wisdom is ever changing. The facts and information that you were taught in 500 BC is very different than in 2025. We've learned a lot since then. They didn't want things written in stone, so to speak, so that people couldn't have an open mind to learning new things when new information was presented. And I think that's an energy that a lot of our collective really needs more of, to not get so set in these ideas that you aren't able to change course when you're presented with new information that should cause you to change course. I understand it can be very scary to let go of things that you were brought up with thinking your whole life. But as you're presented with new information and as you meet new people, it is very important to be willing to learn something new. And so this symbol basically represents that this fluid verbal knowledge was passed down, and it was done so verbally because the information and knowledge are ever changing, and they wanted it to remain fluid based on experience instead of rules. Because rules change, and experience teaches much more. You know, a rule that was made up 100 years ago based on things that were going on 100 years ago aren't, and may not pertain to now. And learning from experience and adding, as each teacher teaches a student something, and as each student learns something new and is passing it down, they're adding it to what they were taught. And this helps allow, they're learning through experience. So this really helps allow us to receive some very amazing wisdom that was gained through experience. And I feel that really does capture a Virgo's essence. They aren't just hearing it and then redistributing it to other people. They are hearing it, learning it, it's consuming them, they're honing it, they're working hard on it, they're thinking a lot about it, they're being very precise about it, they're making the detail-oriented changes that they want to make to it and learning from experience as they work with it, and then they're ready to come teach it to you. And I believe, being a mutable, flexible sign, they are able to teach it in a way that allows space for information to change. This symbol, Phagos, I'm going to move down to the heart dantian, also helps with exams and aids memory. And it helps with learning, reading, writing, transmission of knowledge, expansion of mind, psychology, and social dynamics. So I thought, the fact that it helps with test taking, it helps with memorizing, it helps with learning and reading and writing and transmission of knowledge, that is very much the whole teacher-student vibe that Virgo has going on. Virgo is a perpetual teacher and student, always in motion, always fluctuating back and forth one to the other. So this really is about the verbal knowledge passed down from teacher to student. Phagos. So this Virgo season, let's try to be observant. Let's try to be hardworking, but not to a fault where it's detrimental and burning you out. Let's find balance with that. Same with being detail-oriented. Let's find some balance. Let's be helpful, but not to our own detriment. Make sure to take care of ourselves as well. Let's think, but not overthink. Let's analyze, but not overanalyze. Let's be modest, but not too modest. Let's be patient, but not be doormats. Let's be critical, but not overly critical. Choose our critical thinking skills, but be willing to be open to things changing. I'm going to just kind of seal this in a little more with this new crystal wand I got called Blue Ice Glacianite. And with this blue color and the white and whatnot, it really does go well with the upper chakras. So the upper dantian is, part of this. And this crystal is really good for intuition, clarity, balance, and protection from the evil eye. So if we're talking chakras, we're talking third eye and throat mostly for this. That intuition, the clarity. But then also, I'm seeing this blue, which is giving throat chakra. And, I think the throat also has a lot to do with clarity as well, and balancing, listening and speaking. And I think all of that stuff really fits with the whole Virgo teacher vibe. You're taking in this information through the third eye, through your head, and then you're dispersing it through the throat. So I just want to get some of this lovely blue ice glacianite crystal energy in for that. And so I was was saying before I picked this up, about kind of balancing things out. This is about balance. So let's balance how much we're taking in versus how much we're putting out. Taking in through the third eye, dispersing through the throat. Are you talking more than you're listening? Are you listening more than you're talking? Let's balance that. We're also focused on logic and precision, but not letting those things dominate, finding a good balance. Being picky is okay to a point, but let's not be overly picky. Let's balance that out. Reliable is great, but are you being too reliable for people that you can't rely on? Or are you not being reliable enough for people who need you? Being grounded, being creative, being sensitive, having that be balanced. We all need to be more sensitive to certain situations and things. And then some people maybe are over-indexing there. You need to pull it back a little. Being skeptical, but not too skeptical. Being intellectual, but not too intellectual. And being focused, but also being able to just step out of your head and relax as well. Just kind of brushing this down. I was really mostly doing that in the upper dantian, but I'm kind of pulling it down into the middle dantian, lower dantian, or the middle chakras, the lower chakras, to really get this energy flowing and balanced through the whole body. Okay, and I'm just going to run it behind you and down the back line, under the feet and up and over and down and around and all that good stuff. Around. Okay. And just real quick, seal it all in with my kyanite. So just remember, for this season, let's focus on wisdom, balancing mind and emotions, expansion and growth, correct, direct, and focused intention, a precise direction and application of power and skill, and the right use of strength, and gaining the skills to make that strength effective. Self-control, balancing being and doing, being rooted, being open to fluid verbal knowledge that's passed down through ancient knowledge and wisdom, knowing that information and knowledge is ever changing and to remain fluid based on experience rather than rules. Let's all be teachers and students. Let's all say what we need to say, but also keep our mouths shut when we need to keep our mouths shut, and listen when we need to listen. Let's work on being grounded yet flexible. The famous Virgo I mentioned was Mother Teresa. Let's get some Mother Teresa vibes going. Tapping into our creativity and sensitivity. Remaining grounded. Focused. Just run this along the back and underneath. Up and over. Around the back and underneath. And pulling up the line. Sealing in all around. Okay, everyone, that is my Virgo Celtic Reiki healing for you today. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you feel really great. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'm a smaller creator that's still trying to build my channel. And I love your comments, so please keep those coming. So likes, shares, comments, subscribes all really help, and I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your Virgo season.